tuned in to the Cold Hard Truth, Cayman's #1 hard-hitting live podcast show, where we feature some straightforward conversations on political, social, and celebrity news and all things happening in the Cayman Islands and around the world. This show was created to give the people a voice and a means of being involved and informed without any filters. Sometimes it gets crazy, but we always keep it real. We bring you the tea, piping hot, so grab your favorite beverage and join the conversation via WhatsApp at 324-1612. Email tips at CaymanMarlRoad.com. Now, here's your host, Sandy Hill, broadcasting live from the beautiful Cayman Islands.
All right, good morning, folks, and welcome to another edition of the Cold Hard Truth. How are you guys? I'm trying to see what's going on with the video here that I'm trying to upload. Good morning. It is Thursday. So, of course, today is Tech Thursday, which means at some point during this show, we're going to talk about technology and the wonderful things that technology brings to our lives. And I'm actually going to tell you about something I'm a little bit surprised about today as it relates to technology. Let me just pull up this file because, as you guys know, news happens all around us. And so we're going to get into some of those news things first. And by the way, my hair is a hot mess because I forgot to brush it before I came on here. I put on a little bit of lip gloss, and normally I brush my hair after that, and I totally neglected to do that this morning. So ignore the crazy hair, but it is what it is. You know, we all have those moments. Hi, Manzi. Good morning. How are you? I think, Manzi, you're in Canada, right? I know that you traveled during COVID, but I think you made it back to Canada. Renika, good morning, and thank you so much for joining us. Hi, Barbara. Who else is here? Where's Irvlyn? Where's Jake? Where's Lisa? Larry? Louie? All the regulars I know are probably tuned in already this morning. So let's do some morning shout outs in terms of good morning, Cayman. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. So there was a fire last night, in case you missed it, at the Ritz Carlton. And I'm going to just pull up that file here in a second because it was kind of interesting. And it's one of those things where you go, wow, this could have easily gotten out of control. But thankfully, I understand there were several fire trucks there. There was, who else was there? Fire trucks, the ambulance, just in case they were needed. Thankfully, the ambulance was not needed. No one was injured or hurt. But when you see this blaze, I'm going to put up here in a second, it really is amazing that this fire did not go any further than it did, because it totally could have. That's how kind of scary this blaze looks. Let me just show that to you guys here. Yes. So I'm going to pull that up, and then we've been keeping a close eye on hurricane. Now, she's actually not a hurricane. She's still in a thunderstorm, but she is causing a lot of rain and havoc. But thunderstorm Nana is continuing her path. So we're going to look at her here in a second. And let me see if I can pull this video up. I think the video file format may need to be changed. So in the meantime, hurricane thunderstorm, tropical storm Nana continues to make her way along the Honduras coast, Bay Islands area. And we have had a number of people, let me just change this to an MP4, who have, given us updates on what's going on there. And one of the more interesting things about Nana is obviously she is causing a lot of rain and havoc. So check out this video out of Rotan. I understand that this is the hospital there in Rotan, flooded. Check this out. Yeah, so that's in Rotan, Honduras this morning. Those poor people have already been hit hard by COVID. And so I think, in fact, this is probably the last thing that they needed. Even as a thunderstorm, it can cause a lot of rain and flooding and that sort of destruction. So, of course, someone made it extra dramatic with the music. What can you expect in the world of social media? And then here's the fire last night at the Ritz. So yes, they were very, very fortunate. Apparently, it may have broken out in a linen closet or something in the area called the bar jack. And so I would say that they are incredibly fortunate that it wasn't any worse than that. And you know, I mean, that's $1 million property for sure. I can't imagine what damage that really could have done had it gotten out of control. So we're thankful that it didn't. As they say, all is well that ends well. So good morning, Irvlyn. Good morning, Nancy. Yes, Nancy says she's still in Canada, made it back before it got extreme. Thank goodness for that. Speaking of extreme, COVID is showing no signs of slowing down whatsoever. And, we are waiting with bated breath to kind of see how this will play out a little bit. Jamaica, continues to have record numbers every single day, kind of thing. Yesterday, 3 elderly patients died. They are now close to 3,000 cases, unfortunately. And I think everyone is watching their situation. So yesterday, they recorded another, I guess, in the previous day, 132 new COVID cases. The 3 deaths were elderly members of the community, but every life matters when you're somebody's, loved one for sure. So we will continue to monitor their COVID situation. Our 2 that we had have now recovered, they've been retested, and they are out of isolation. Because remember, they test people here towards the end of their isolation period. So we're hopeful for that. Let me just see. So someone, anytime something happens, like a fire or anything like that, people always think, is this related to insurance perhaps? And honestly, I would hope not. I don't know how a fire starts in a linen closet if there was no one there, but maybe it was an electrical fire. I'm sure now, hopefully the fire department, this is something I've always wondered, even though it wasn't like a fire that killed anyone or injured anyone, it has just caused property damage. Hopefully they will still be keen to look into the cause of the fire, because if the cause isn't explored, that it could very well happen again. So good morning to Joy from Texas, sorry. Good morning, Andy. How are you? Good morning, Maureen. Thank you for joining us this morning. Couple other things happening. Just a quick update. My apologies. So tropical storm conditions are going to continue within the warning area for Belize, Mexico, Guatemala, and the Bay Islands of Honduras this morning. This was the, the 6 a.m. update. Storm surge along the Belize coast will subside as Nana moves further inland. They can expect heavy rainfall with isolated maximum amounts as high as up to 8 to 12 inches, which can result in flash flooding in Belize. So Um, I guess we shall keep an eye on that situation, and hopefully there will be no loss of life from that storm. And we continue to keep an eye on the tropics because it is now September the 3rd. We remember now that the worst hurricane to hit us in recent times is Hurricane Ivan. And what a storm Hurricane Ivan was. And so we're coming up September the 11th on the anniversary of Hurricane Ivan. And that is one between now and really throughout September. The tropics really becomes very, very active, and we have to be extremely cautious and careful that, we are ready and we're prepared because we can't stop. Listen, if a storm is headed our way, there's absolutely nothing that we can do to stop it. All we can do at any point in time is just to be as prepared as possible. Now, listen, I want you guys to help me out a little bit here. There is a young lady who's working on her doctorate. Her name is Mikana Scott. You guys will know her because she is Tony Scott's daughter. Mr. Tony has been involved in, I think at one point he ran the Bonaventure home. He's been involved in sports a lot. His wife, Miss Marjorie, was a educator. I can't remember what year she taught, but she was an educator. And she taught school for many, many years. She's won the prestigious, I think, the Lifetime Award for, what's it called? The local one that they do, the Apple Education Award or something it's called. But anyway, you guys probably know exactly who I'm talking about at this point. So Mickey and Shamari are their kids. Shamari works for Health City and he's in marketing, and he used to be over at tourism as well. Now, we're gonna actually watch a few more videos here, so I'm just pulling those up because today is like the day for videos, and some of these are just absolutely ridiculous. But Miss Mickey is doing her doctorate, and she's got a survey. So I'm going to put the link here in the comment section, and she is asking for as many people as possible to please participate in her survey for her doctorate. And so she's got to complete this, I believe, for her dissertation. So again, we're asking that if you are able to please assist with that. Simple and easy. All you have to do is click on the link. It shouldn't take you more than 5-10 minutes to fill it out. Whenever you're doing some masters or some doctorates, you have to do surveys and research. And funny enough, yesterday I ran into a young lady who said to me, she's like, "Oh, Miss Sandra." And I was like, "Yes." Sometimes I don't know what's coming at me, folks. I'm like, "Yes." Good morning, Cecile. And she said, "I'm the person who," and whenever someone says that, I start thinking in my mind, okay, where do I know this person from? Have I seen them before? But she had contacted me at some point about some stories and some information about people who were not able to get NAU assistance, but were living on the verge of poverty or homelessness or whatever. So she had to do that for an assignment for her school. And apparently it was 2 assignments, and I guess I must have provided her with information. I don't even remember, to be honest. People send me questions and I just answer them to the best of my ability. So I'm sure that was one of those situations. And so provided her with the information, and she informed me yesterday when she saw me in Foster's that she had gotten an A in both of her assignments. And she's like, "Thank you so much." It was, partly obviously because you provided this information and I was able to complete my assignment and do my paper and provide this research and information on the Cayman Islands. And I got an A. And she said it was kind of embarrassing, though, to have to do this paper in the first place and to know that here we are, supposedly a first world country with all sorts of millionaires living here and privileges and private planes coming in and yachts, multi-million dollar yachts sometimes right outside of our windows or on the ocean. And we still have people in this community who are living in poverty, who are homeless, who are sleeping on the streets. Someone sent me a picture the other day about a guy who is living on the streets in town somewhere. And they were inquiring about his situation. And unfortunately, I don't know who he is, but whatever his situation is, I think we need to certainly try to get him some help as soon as possible. So I did make note of the details of that. And it's just sad. So, good morning, Olivia. Good morning, Tamara. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for Cecile. Cecile's in the UK joining us as well. And the last couple of days, I've met a few people who were real Marlow Road fans. A few of them stopped me and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I love your show. I love your program." And one young man said to me, he's like, at the end of the day, you bring us all of the news, whether people like it or not. You bring it to us, and we have to be very, very thankful for that, because otherwise we would have no idea what's going on in this country. And I thought to myself, I'm glad that people appreciate that. And we certainly do our best in terms of what we can do. And one guy said to me yesterday, he's like, whether it's the accident or something more serious, we are kept informed and we know what's going on. And I think a lot of people felt like that was so critical, given that, we no longer have a local TV station. People said, in a way, we have replaced, not really fully replaced, but we have helped fill the gap, if you will, when it comes to Cayman 27 no longer being around. So I'm glad that we can do that. We really do try to keep on top of it. And to be honest, with working with a bare bone staff, as few people as we have contributing to what you see here in CMR, I think we actually do a pretty decent job of it. And I want to tell you guys that the Cayman Islands government, this is a bit of interesting information. They are going to be setting up a media, what do they call it? Media authorization. Hold on, let me tell you exactly what they're calling it. So in other words, they want to be the ones who say what media is and who sets the standards for media. And so we're going to be putting that story up a little bit later on, because as you guys know, we've had a continuing fight with them in terms of getting access to certain events and so on. And so their solution now is that they will tell us who media is, they will define it, and they will set the criteria. And of course, they'll make sure that we don't meet the criteria. And so we will still be on the outskirts. I don't know, what that means. They're talking about they're going to open it up to consultation. So I think all of you would probably be well advised to participate in the consultation process. But yes, they have informed us that they have, made this decision. This is this unity government who's pushing this agenda to define what media is. So they're going to do a government-wide media accreditation procedure. Whatever. And they're going to push it through within a month's time. Mm-hmm. Anyway, All right. Um, that's what it is, folks. So let's keep the conversation moving. Good morning, Yvette. Good morning, Ronika. Ronika says, yes, that is so true. And we have a bit of sad news. Yesterday, actually, I think it was the day before. Yes, on Wednesday, we had heard that a young lady had passed away who has some connections to the Cayman Islands. She's actually from Jamaica, but apparently she taught here. She taught the drama. She was like the supervisor of the drama program, is what I was told. And she has passed away, unfortunately. So this is a former drama teacher here in the Cayman Islands. And sadly, she lost her life in a car accident in Jamaica. So we would like to express our condolences to her family, her friends and her loved ones, her colleagues. She had left Cayman and had since been, I guess she went to law school and she was actually a lawyer. And so apparently she was not too long ago called to, I guess, the bar in Jamaica. And this one says, just turned lawyer, Anna, and boom, death. So very, very sad, beautiful young lady. There were some persons here who expressed their shock and surprise at what had happened to her, saying that, one person said, 2020 has to be the worst year ever. Rest in peace to one of the best teachers at George Hicks, Miss Jarrett. You will surely be missed. Condolences to your family. Best drama teacher. And she was the subject leader of drama at John Gray High School, which I guess at some point was George Hicks or whatever. So our condolences to her. She was also teaching, we understand, at a college, a local college in Jamaica as well. So she was only 42 years old. And the accident report out of Jamaica says that she was driving southwest along the Montclair Main Road in the vicinity of Ramble, Hanover at about 1:25 p.m. when her Nissan Tita motor car collided into a Toyota motor van. And when I saw the pictures of her vehicle, I'm like, her car collided? Like, I don't even understand, because one entire side of her vehicle is completely crushed. And so her and the driver of the van were escorted to the local hospital there. And unfortunately, she did succumb to her injuries. So she was said to be headed to her home in Goshen, St. Elizabeth, after traveling to Montego Bay for the day. Unfortunate, very, very unfortunate. So our condolences to her family and her colleagues. It's just horrible. So the roads of Jamaica, I'm always scared when I go to Jamaica on their roads, because trust me, they are like fast and furious. There's that road called Junction. The last time I was in Jamaica, it's a road that's often used as a cut through road to get to like St. Mary and stuff like that from Kingston. And I would say to my husband, there is a newer road that is like a highway, but it's a longer route. And I think a lot of Jamaicans still just take Junction. But boy, you will literally, your heart will jump out of your chest, because the road is so narrow and it's like on a cliff. And then there are points when it just is like super windy. And there are times when you have to stop when you're coming around a corner. They honk. This, I tell you no lie, this is the driving. So they honk to let anyone in the opposite direction know that they're coming around the bend. And they're doing like full speed around the bend, but they're in the horn. Toot, 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 here I come. And I'm just like, shouldn't we be stopping? Like I was always saying to my husband, I think we need to like stop and then see. And he's like, nope, you just keep going. I'm like, this is like playing Russian roulette. I was scared to death. And then one day, me and my goat mouth, which I do have, said, I'm surprised nobody ever just drives off of this thing, because I could see how easy that would be. You just take the curb a little too fast, or you make a little bit of a swerve, and all of a sudden, pew, you're like right over the edge. And it's like their homes down there. I don't even know how. It's the most interesting landscape, because honestly, I have no clue how those homes were built or how those people get to their homes. I guess they come from down and then go up some other way. Definitely not from the junction road. So it is a bit of a unusual situation. So I said to him one day, I said, I'm surprised that no one really falls off of this cliff more often, or that, it doesn't happen. And lo and behold, the very next day, there was an incident where a car went right off of that junction road into the ravine. And there was a baby in the car and a couple other people. I think at least one person died in that accident. And I was like, that does not surprise me one bit, because I could totally see that happening on more than one occasion, so to speak. And it does happen occasionally, from what I was told. So buenos dias, Elizabeth. Thank you so much for tuning in. So let's watch a few more videos, because there's a couple videos that people sent me that this week really had people up in arms. One was from yesterday. So I'm going to pull that one up first. And that was let me just tell you what the feedback was that I received on this one. Hold on one second. That was like a rogue parent, apparently, behind the school bus or next to school bus, who just had lost their mind. Sometimes you do have to wonder about these people. And then the other video, which I briefly mentioned earlier in the week, is a real estate agent who decided to do something that is going to get her the Jackass of the Day award. Now, folks, Jackass of the Day was really something that we did, which, by the way, I met a couple the night before, and they were saying to me, they're like, we love your Jackass of the Day during COVID. They said it was well-deserved by everyone who received it, and they wish that we would continue it. I kind of chuckled, because I did think that was a little bit funny. So we, occasionally, I think it's warranted, although it was meant to be just a COVID situation. We do have a new Jackass of the Day that we're going to be revealing here in a second. But I kind of think that maybe these two individuals that I'm going to show you are vying for the award. So maybe we need to do Jackass of today, and then tomorrow we do another Jackass of the Day. So let us have a look here at this one. I'm going to see if we can pull this up. So this is, let me just refresh my memory with the details of what was said about this bus situation. So this was a car. Let me just see here. A parent that got out of control, basically, with cursing. And let me just see here. Let me see. Okay. An American lady, this is what was said to me, so I don't know, with her kid in the back, decided to cut off traffic by using the opposite side of the road. So this is what is alleged to have happened. All right, so let us see. I actually received the video from more than one person. Here we go.
I guess someone saying and they still going. Dame some more.
All right, so that's the first video. And as you can see, there's a school bus right there. She clearly does not care about the school bus. And yeah, it's kind of disappointing to see that. Let us continue because there's more. There is absolutely more. So hold on one second here, folks. Let me show you this video. So I tell you what, let's do a poll this morning. You guys will decide by popular vote who goes up first as Jackass of the Day. Or maybe we'll do like an honorable mention Jackass of the Day. So here's another one. Here we go. Now this one is quite interesting. This is a real estate agent here in the Cayman Islands showing a house. And look at what she does. I want you to decide how much of a jackass she is.
Just got to my showing and I'm quickly turning on all the lights, getting it ready for the people that are coming in.
Okay. So she goes to a showing. She actually uploaded this on her own Instagram feed. And she's in a home. She says, oh, I'm here. I just got to my showing. You know, I'm getting ready for the people to come. Da, da, da. And there's a picture of Jesus. So obviously the homeowners believe in Jesus. And there's a picture of Jesus, which she takes, records her flipping face down. Now, as much as I believe in religious freedoms, I do think that if you are showing someone's house and they have decor in their house that maybe you think could be, I don't know, offensive to other people, this isn't really what you do. You don't record it showing you putting Jesus face down. In some countries, that would be considered beyond insulting. So I want to know what you guys think. And I'm not an overly like religious fanatic, you know, that looks like one of the, what do you call them? Catholic photos of Jesus. You know, he's very whitewashed kind of thing. And we know that that's not what Jesus really looked like. But, you know, people love to have religious symbols in their homes. So sometimes they'll have like crosses and different things because people believe that there are protections that certain things bring you. You know, they love to have their Bibles out, maybe by the nightstand, even by the front door. There are people who place religious artifacts or religious items by the front door to try to, you know, bring positivity into their home, if nothing else. And some people really do believe that these things have power to them. So I see the comments coming in so far. It looks like overwhelmingly you guys are thinking that she's more of a jackass than the parent. So Irvlyn says, I hope that she gets fired for that. Stupid ass jackass. Jules says, no, she is definitely a jackass. There's a special place in hell for her. And Morna says she should be jackass of the year. Listen, I have sold a place before, and you know, I have also dabbled in real estate. I do have a real estate license. And I know that one of the things you do is you actually speak to your clients about anything in their decor that you think could be deterring a sale. Somehow I doubt that a picture of Jesus on the counter would be anything that would deter a sale, like honestly. So yeah, this I was offended by this. I looked at this and I thought, what the hell is she doing? That is total jackass behavior. Let's watch it one more time, because for her to actually record it and put it on social media says so much more about her than the fact that she, like, it would have been one thing to have just done it and we wouldn't know. And I guess as the saying goes, Ignorance is bliss. What you don't know can't hurt you, which isn't always true. But, now that, and I imagine she's working here in the Cayman Islands, someone's going to recognize this venue or this video as this is from my house, right? Now, if you were that homeowner, what would you do? I'm curious. Let's watch the video one more time.
Just got to my showing and I'm quickly turning on all the lights, getting it ready for the people that are coming in.
Yeah. If she was my real estate agent and that was my house, I'm sorry. I would be calling Engel and Vogel or whatever the heck their names are this morning. And I would be saying, I do not want her back in my home. And not only do I not want her back in my home, but I actually don't want her or your company doing my listing anymore. On a matter of principle, I would actually get rid of the real estate company as well. Because I think it says a lot about the type of people that they have employed. When they have someone like this hired, she's obviously not a Caymanian. I'll get some more details when we put the story up and who she is and where she's from. But I'm pretty insulted by that, for sure. Yeah. All right, so I'll get you guys some details. I did have her name. I'll tell you, hold on one second. I can tell you exactly who she is. One second. I can't even remember. Her name is, and then, she puts it on Instagram. And her Instagram feed is open for all the world to see. And I thought to myself, wow.
Just got to my showing.
Hold on one second. I'm like, this lady is bold. She is super, super bold. So let us name her from now. Apparently her Instagram page is called Cayman Homes. So like I said, this is definitely a home in the Cayman Islands. She's here and she's working here. No respect, no sensitivity. Her name is Nikki Thomas, and she is a realtor with Engel and Volker. I think it's pronounced Engel and Volkers. So she put it up on her Instagram stories, and she claims to be a real estate agent. Says she's Canadian. She's cake obsessed, glam rock chick. That's what it says in her description. And she seems to have a lot of high-end properties on her website, on her Instagram page. So I don't know if that's what she deals in exclusively, but I don't see too many homes that are kind of average run-of-the-mill homes. So Miss Nikki, she joined, we can get the tea, folks. She joined them in just December of 2019. Claims to have a decade of real estate experience. Well, she must not have a whole lot of common sense. She might have real estate experience, but even in the real estate market, you would certainly have to know that there are certain things that would be insulting to your clients. And my dear Nikki, she is a beautiful woman, blonde hair, nice body. She looks fabulous. She looks the part. So congratulations to Nikki for looking the part. But in terms of acting the part, not so much so. And Nikki has, let me tell you how many followers she has. She has 872 followers. So not really a whole lot of people following her, but that's 872 too many that would have seen that video. So based on your comments, Jake says if the people who were coming to view the house weren't religious or Christian, she could have put it in the drawer and not record it. That's what I'm thinking, Jake. And she wouldn't know if they're religious or Christian or not, most likely. But again, I sort of think that if there's something, and this is someone I've shown a few homes, and I've actually been on a property hunt myself, I've looked at homes, I've sold a property, and not everything that's in that home is going to be to your taste. But listen, when you buy the home, you're not buying the Jesus picture frame or the photo of Jesus. Just like most of the time when you buy homes, you're probably not even buying the furniture because it may not be to your liking. It may not be to, your taste. And so when you look at it, you kind of have to look beyond those things. I do get in the real estate market, they have a whole thing about aesthetics and, what they call staging. So if they can, they like to stage a property to look a particular way. But when you're living in the home, you're trying to sell it. I mean, obviously staging is a little bit more difficult to do, but they might give you some feedback on, okay, when we come over, can you declutter the countertop, for example, in the kitchen? Because I'm a really big, I hate clutter in kitchens on kitchen countertops. But in the practical world, when we're all living in homes, they are full of clutter in our kitchen. There's the bread bin, there's the microwave toaster. And so if I'm showing a home, I'm viewing a home, I don't necessarily want to see those things. So you can easily say to a client, just declutter the kitchen. I would never even say to a client to put your Jesus picture away. To me, that is just rude, right? But I agree with Jake. There could have been a more professional way in which to handle this, which she clearly is not all that professional for her to record it. Evelyn said, if that was my house, I would kick her nasty ass. Ooh, Evelyn's pissed off there. Good morning, Miss Charlene. Thank you for tuning in. Ronika says she is a jackass for life. Thank you, Miss Ethel. Love you too and appreciate your love and support. Ronika's in agreement here. Good morning, Dean. From the Holiday Inn. So Dean, I'm guessing that means that you are in quarantine now. We should talk to you while you're in quarantine. See how it's going. Dean asked the question, what if it was a picture of Buddha? Maybe it was personal. She was just being neutral. No, I mean, listen, I'm not necessarily saying, I don't know who her clients were. Maybe she had some inside intel on whether or not they would have been offended by a picture of Jesus. But listen, that's like saying to me, if you go into a person's house and they have a picture of their family, did she do that to all pictures? I don't kind of think so. She specifically recorded that picture of Jesus being turned face down. And I think also it is insulting in a lot of religions. I don't know that Christians necessarily make a big deal about this, but it is insulting in a lot of religions to face your religious pictures or whatever face down. Just like in the Muslim world, showing someone the bottom of your feet can be considered an extreme insult. And so that's why they'll do things like throw their shoes at people, whatever, because that's like one of the most insulting things you can do religiously and culturally. So I kind of feel like putting any religious symbol or picture or anything like that face down is very, very insulting. I don't know if she would have done anything about a picture of Buddha or not. And I also wonder, does she go around putting pictures face down of families in these homes? Like, what if she comes across a family that she thinks, oh, well, this might be a nice house that we're going to sell, but we don't like the family. Or the family is too Caribbean, or they look like Jesus or whatever. Does she go around taking their photos and putting them face down as well? It's a question that I have. And I agree with most of your sentiments that she should definitely be awarded the Jackass of the, probably more than a day, but she'll at least get the Jackass of the Day award, because that's what we originally called it, Jackass of the Day. So her name is Nikki Thomas. Sales agent at Engel and Volkers. I think that's how they pronounce it. She claims that she sold millions of dollars worth of real estate in the Boston and Cayman Islands market since starting her career. I wonder if she was doing that in Boston too. We shall see. Says that she's a proud mother, devoted partner, and cake addict. Okay, Nikki. So expect that story to go up a little bit later on. And we will also link you guys to her profile so you can have a look at Nikki. Respect, to me, respect is such a basic thing. It doesn't take much to respect people. And this is why I think people who are overly, religious sometimes get a little bit crazy with some of the things that they stand for. And it always rubs me the wrong way, because I think that I don't know, like, I feel like no matter what your religious beliefs are, I'm not going to disrespect your religious beliefs. I mean, obviously, we grew up in a Christian community. We believe in the principles of Christianity by and large, although some of us have a lot of questions. But we accept the basics, love thy neighbor and, treating people a certain way. And the fact that we're not just here and this is the end of it. We believe that there's more to this life. But I've had friends who were Muslim. I've had friends who were Buddhist. And even when I was in university, I had a huge opportunity to learn about different cultures. And that to me is one of the best reasons why all of us should travel the world, see the world, and know that what we believe and what we think we understand in our heads and what we have been taught isn't the end all and the be all. And so I have had friends from all walks of life, from all religious beliefs. I've got friends who believe in nothing when it comes to like the spiritual realm. They don't believe in a God. They're atheists. And I don't have to share their belief. But you know what? I think that there's a certain amount of respect that is always due to people. And people are free to believe what they wish. Now, your belief system is one thing, but obviously going out there and acting on it might be a totally different situation. Charlene says beauty, but no common sense or scruples, obviously. And I think that that is very, very unfortunate. All right, so by unanimous vote, Nikki Thomas will be our jackass of the day. Look forward to this story a little bit later on this morning. After today's program, we will certainly be putting that up. So if you're just joining the show, please don't forget that Mickey Scott, who is the daughter of Mr. Tony and Miss Marjorie Scott, is asking for your assistance with a survey that she's doing. And the survey is called Life, Politics, and Identity in the Cayman Islands. So I'm also going to, I will complete my survey, so I'm going to do mine. And I'm going to send out the survey to our news group. So just a reminder, if you've not joined our WhatsApp news group and you love to get news as it's hot off the press, then please WhatsApp me at 324-1612, or you can email tips@caymanmallroad.com. We've got hundreds of people in our news groups and they get the information first. So so again, she's doing her doctorate and she has to do this survey. And so we would be most grateful if you guys would actually complete the survey and help her out. So I will be sharing that. I've just shared that in my 2 news groups, and that's at least a couple hundred people for sure, 300 and something people. So yes, feel free to join in on the news group. We send all of the news alerts to those groups, as well as really anything that's breaking, and then every story that goes up on the website, we also put in the news group also. So let me just have a look here. All right, so let's start moving towards our Tech Thursday comment. So Dean says, love everyone. And I think, yes, I mean, that's the basic premise on which we all operate. And I don't know why there has to be so much hate in the world. All right, so let me just see here. Someone just pointed out that I've actually that somehow I have misspelled this word. Sometimes when you're typing a little too fast, you kind of mistype it. So it says, please assist the student by completing the surgery was what I typed instead of survey. So my apologies to my news group for that typo. So listen, most of you, I happen to know, are Android users. Some of you are iPhone users, like myself. But across the platforms, there are similarities, and obviously there's some differences. So what to do if someone IP grabs your iPhone is what we're going to be talking a little bit about this morning, as well as some other tech-related news. So what the heck is even IP grab? So let's just have a quick look here at this video. So I'm going to just pull this up. We're going to watch it, and then we're going to, oops. So let me just pull it out.
So you never have to slow down.
Give me 1 second here, good folks. So we are going to pull this video out, and we're going to watch it. And we're going to spend a couple minutes learning about what this is. So, there was a point in time when someone could easily steal your iPhone, your Android devices, and you were kind of just out of luck in terms of, what you could do with recovering it. I think the ISPs had a lot of power that they were not always exercising. So they could do a lot with helping you get it back. But most of the time they were just like, buy a new one. And so iPhones were always a hot commodity, in particular because of their price tag and the fact that, you can resell them on the market and make some money if you're a thief. Do you guys remember some years ago, there was the, he was in charge of the, it's now part of OFREG. It was the Fuel Commission or something it was called. What was his name again? Joey Ebanks? I think that's what his name was, from Northside. He had ran for office, and he seemed to have been having a little bit of an episode of something, but he was eventually convicted of purchasing all of these iPhones from the Apple Store with government funds. And what he was doing was he was pawning them to get money for an alleged drug problem. And so it was thousands upon thousands of dollars worth of iPhones, because one iPhone can easily run you $1,000+ depending on the model number. They have the iPhone Pro Max. That's probably going to run you about $1,200-$1,300, even in the States. So he had purchased all these iPhones. whether people purchase them like that with government funds or they steal them, they've always been an extremely hot commodity because you could pawn them, you could resell them to people. Even if you stole a cell phone, you got half the price for it. Well, you didn't pay anything for it at all. So, you're still making money as a thief. Remember during the Brazil, I think it was the World Cup that was in Brazil? There was a huge problem there with people, a lot of the street criminals targeting visitors, targeting Americans or European visitors to Brazil and stealing their phones. So now phones like iPhone have made it, they've had their iPhone tracker locator system for a very, very long time. But they have even made it more difficult outside of that because a lot of people get an iPhone and never turn that on. And they'd be like, oops, I didn't turn down Find My iPhone. And I'm like, who doesn't turn that on? That's like the first thing you do when you get an iPhone. Because somebody steals your iPhone, that is going to pinpoint. And I know of cases right here in the Cayman Islands where that is taking the police right to the thief's doorsteps. And they're like, listen, you can't lie to us. Because when they say, oh, we know you've got an iPhone. Oh, no, I don't. Well, that's funny because the locator is saying that the iPhone is right here. And then they go, oh, okay, well, yeah, because it's not going to lie. So now iPhone in particular has made it a lot less easy to steal their phones because now they have it locked in such a way that unless you know the original password or you can use the fingerprint unlocking or the eye detector or whatever, it's like multiple steps now to factory reset an iPhone. You can steal it, but you're never going to be able to use it. So some people have become a little bit more creative and they do other things in terms of what they're going to use an iPhone for. So have a look at this video. I learned some stuff for this, and I think you guys will as well. So this is called IP grab. So what are you going to do if someone IP grabs your phone?
Hi everybody, this is Brenton from Simple Device Advice, and today we're talking about what to do if someone IP grabbed your iPhone. So first we need to talk about what an IP grabber is. So usually when someone's referring to an IP grabber, they're talking about Grabify. So I'm going to mainly talk about Grabify because that's one of the most common ones that people know of when they talk about an IP grabber. So the way this happens is someone sends you a message with a Grabify link. It could be hidden, obfuscated a little bit. It could be a hidden link that looks like YouTube, it looks like Google, it looks like something else, but it's actually a Grabify link. So what that does is that on the screen now, you'll be able to see what the IP log looks like when someone clicks on a link. And you can see it brings up the data time, the external IP address of the devices, the location they're in, the battery level, the charging, if the device is charging, a few other things, time zone. I don't need to read out everything, but the main important things is local IP address, browser, operating system, and this stuff here. So the type of web browser it's using, type of system it's the web browser's for, that type of thing, and the ISP. So that stuff it can be scary to some people. It is your private information to an extent. So this is terrifying when someone, a hacker, tells someone this information because they think they're being hacked. But really, they just use a Grabify link, which is a free piece of software, or a free website, really, that you can go to, send to anyone, and get this information. This what I'm actually looking at here is actually a example that from the creator of Grabify used when he was talking about it recently. So this one here is not for an iPhone, it's for a Windows 8 computer, but this will give us an idea of what they can grab. So first off, that's what happens if someone IP grabs your iPhone. They're going to be able to see what sort of OS it's running, if it's up to date or not, what sort of web browser you're using on the iPhone. It's usually Safari. The external IP address and the local IP address. The next thing you're going to be wondering is what they can do with that information. With external IP addresses, they can't really do much. And when I say much, is you need a really good hacker to be able to do something useful with an external IP address. Because the external IP address means the external IP address of your router, not your phone. If you're using your phone on 4G or 5G, yes, that'll be the external IP address of the phone. But if you're using a router, it'll be the router. So external IP address is the IP address of the device that is accessing the internet directly. The internal IP address is the IP address behind the router. So all devices in a home usually start with 192.168. Whatever. If it's a business, it could be 10 dot something. Some homes use 10 dot something. Just depends on the type of router you have, but generally it's 192.168 something. That's not really important. That's just used to scare people. So first off, if someone is trying to hack you and access your devices and they're a real hacker, what they'll do is use the external IP address, figure out what sort of router you have, what version of firmware it's using, and then find exploits for that router and target that router on whatever attack it's got available, and then try to access that router. And then they can do the same thing with your phone. So this gives them the internal IP address of your phone. It gives them the version of updates it's on. So over here where it says Windows 8.1, on an iPhone, it'll say iOS 12, iOS 13, iOS 10, whatever. They can figure out what exploits are available for that version of iOS, and then they can plan out an attack to access your photos, access whatever. The things you need to be aware of that is that that's not very likely. A lot of people get freaked out about that, thinking it's a very scary thing. It seems scary, but not really. Again, there's a lot of ifs in there. The way to change your external IP address is to restart your router. To stop the likelihood of having exploits for your router, make sure you update your router regularly. Same thing with your phone. Make sure you update your phone regularly. Make sure you back it up. Make sure you back it up to an external hard drive. Make sure those basic things are done, and then they can't really do much with it. Another way to, if you worry someone accessing your phone, is by your cloud storage. So hacking someone's router, then their phone to access the photos is a very hard way of going about it. The easiest way is to get access to their cloud storage, either through OneDrive, Dropbox, iCloud, Google Photos, or access to their social media accounts. That's the easiest way to get access someone's photos from their iPhone. And the way you stop that from happening is by having two-factor authentication turned on everything. If anything has the availability for two-factor authentication, turn that on right now. Change your passwords monthly. Have a different password for each account. Do those things and they'll stop that from happening. The main question of this video was what to do if someone IP grabs your iPhone. So I talked about what could happen, what to do about it. The main points were restart your phone and restart your router. The reason why you want to do that is because most of the time when those devices restart, you're going to be assigned a new IP address. So either you restart the router and you get a new IP address from the ISP, and you restart the phone. If you're using a router at home, Wi-Fi router, the local IP address may change. It may not. Usually it doesn't. But if you're using 4G or 5G and you restart your router, your external IP address of the phone will change. A few things to do if you get IP grabs. Now, if the person has IP grabbed you and you restart your devices, your router and phone, that information they have is pretty much defunct now. They can't do anything with it because the IP addresses have changed. So yes, they still know what sort of phone you have. They still know what OS you have. They still know what sort of web browser you used. They still know your location. I say location is because it's not very accurate. In country here, when I do it to myself, it brings up a city that's 3 hours away with 5 million people that live there. They can't do much with that because what are you going to do about it? If a hacker want to know where I live, trying to find it through my IP address is going to be a really, really hard way of going about it, if not almost impossible. With that, if someone wanted to find out where I live, social media is the way to go. So same thing with you. Make sure you hide your friends list. Make sure things aren't public that shouldn't be public. Make sure two-factor authentication is turned on. Make sure you change your passwords. Every month is my recommendation. Make sure you make a password. Make sure you have different passwords with different accounts. So hopefully that gives you a bit of an idea of what to do when you get IP grabbed on an iPhone and some things you can do to fix that. So just don't be terrified of it, because most of the time there's something called gaslighting or fear mongering, and that's what these people are trying to do. They're trying to blackmail you into doing something. He's like, hey, I know where you live. I know your IP address, blah, 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 garbage. What I want you to do this. Okay, so don't do that. Restart your phone, restart your router straight away, and they lose their leverage. If they don't know your IP address anymore, well, they can't threaten you with something if they don't have it anymore. All right, that makes sense to me. So thanks for watching. If you have any more questions, comments below. Watch another video here, and I'll see you next time.
Okay, so hopefully you learned a little something there about IP grabbing and what that now means. And it sounds a little bit more scary than probably what it is. But at the end of the day, security is a large consideration when you live in the world that we live in. So we all have access to technology. We've all got phones and we have computers, and most of our lives are in some electronic format. So even when banks get hacked, our information is up for grabs, and it is a very dangerous situation. So we always have to think about not just how we are protecting ourselves, but some of the institutions and the businesses that we do business with. There are times when we have to be concerned with how they are protecting our data. And we've all been in this situation, I'm pretty sure, where you've gone, for example, shopping in the US, and next thing you know, your bank calls you, CNB, to verify transaction. And there are times when months later they come back and they say, because of a security breach at TJ Maxx, JC Penney's, Sears, wherever on their system, we know that some of our customers could have potentially been compromised because of that breach. And as a result of that, we're going to cancel all these cards. So they do a whole batch of cards and they will reissue cards, because it's just so much easier to do that and to know that you have a new card number, you have a new security pin, you've got new details. And, if you were on somebody's list, you are not going to be compromised with that card, because the headache, if you've ever been compromised, of having to work with the bank, prove that a compromise happened. Most of the time, they do not track down or find these hackers. And it's just, that's it. Somebody's out of money. It could have been your money out of your debit account, for your credit card, so on and so forth. So prevention, as they say, is always better than cure. So this idea of someone IP grabbing your details from your iPhone is kind of interesting, because again, it does seem like there are applications out there that make this super easy for them to be able to do so. And all they're essentially doing is getting your information, right? So there are IP grabber cards that are out there. There are applications that do it. And the reason that they want to do it is so that they can basically obtain some information that they think is critical to then trying to figure out more things about you, right? So what are we talking about here? Like you said, if they've got your IP address, they can figure out, well, what modem are you on at your home or wherever? And then that can potentially allow them to have access to other things. Once they get into your home router, any device that's connected to your home router, phones, smart devices, TVs, cameras, whatever, they could have access to. And this is where, again, you've got to be super, super careful. Everybody loves technology, but the downside of technology is that there are people out there who are always looking for a way to abuse it. Some of those persons are called hackers. And that's what they do, because they want to get your personal details, and they either want to steal information from you with the hopes of either being mischievous or making some money. So we've heard super scary, stories about people logging in to home cameras, whether it was a camera in the nursery or your Ring doorbell camera, and being able to monitor what's going on, talking to people at the door. There was that one that was really bizarre, where the camera was like the baby monitor. They were actually waking the child up at night. You can imagine being a toddler and hearing this like strange voice in your room. right? So they're waking the little baby up at night and cursing and using profanity and saying all sorts of things. Like, you don't know what kind of perverts are out there potentially grabbing your information if they can. So there are security measures in place a lot of us can take. This Grabify that he mentioned apparently is some sort of an application or something that they can use in order to obtain or grab your IP address. So what they do is, and you know what, I have been getting, I don't know if you guys have seen this or not. I did want to show you this because I've gotten a couple of these now from strange phone numbers. One came in on Tuesday, and then I think another one came in yesterday from a +27. I have no idea who these people are or why they would be messaging me, but let me just show you what they sent me in WhatsApp. So sometimes strangers get your WhatsApp details, and they send you spam, they send you junk mail, they send you advertising, and there are times that they're sending it to you in order to make a move on you in terms of like security breaches. So you got to be careful. Listen, if I don't have you saved in my phone and I don't know who you are, don't think that you're going to be sending me a WhatsApp message and even get a response. So unless you say something in that message that makes me know that you're trying to, you know me, or you know who I am, or you're trying to reach me for a particular reason, you got to identify yourself pretty quickly for me to engage in a WhatsApp conversation. So this one came up, and I've gotten it more than once. And I don't know if any of you have gotten it as well. But this one came in on Tuesday. And then I want to say I got one yesterday as well. Or this might have been the one that I got Tuesday. And then there's another one that was sent a couple of days ago, but they're coming in. Yeah, so this one came in from this number. And then there's another one that came in that looks almost identical. Let me just show you guys this one. And this came from +27 as well. And this was Saturday. Yes. So let's talk about some of the things you can do when strangers are WhatsApping you. So it says the best question, the best decision. Don't miss this opportunity. Book a test drive and find out why the Audi Q5 has captivated the entire world. Opportunity, book a test drive and find out why. So it's like, you notice how that's duplicating the previous sentence? And then it gives you this link, right? Now, let me tell you guys something here. Never click on a link from someone that you do not know. Furthermore, these spam messages are very, very dangerous. So you see this HTTPS where it says bit.ly, and you don't see, like, normally when you get a link, it's like, okay, Cayman Mall Road, it'll identify itself or whatever. So this bit.ly is what it's called, bit.ly, allows people to create custom URLs. So this is an actual, I think I have actually used this before. It's a service that allows you to create a custom URL. So you can shorten, you can take any URL, and sometimes it's a great way to redirect someone to a longer URL without having them type out the full thing. So, here's an example of where it might be useful. So instead of me doing caymanmallroad.com and people have to type out Cayman Mall Road, I could just create a shortener called cmr.ky, cmr.com, whatever. You can create, I don't think you're able to really do .coms as such, but you can do something similar to what you see here. So bit.ly, and then it creates a unique sequence of numbers, right? The thing with this is, I don't know what this directs people to or where this is going. So if I don't know that, believe me, I don't not want to click on it, because it could be taking me to a website or a file or anything that has a virus attached to it. All of a sudden, my computer is infected. So this person, whoever this is from +27, which I've not even looked at what country this is, but let me just have a look. And I can tell you, but of course we can look this information up. So +27 is South Africa's country code is 27. Right. I don't know anybody in South Africa. And nobody in South Africa should be knowing much about me. So, but it doesn't matter. To me, it doesn't matter where it came from. When I look at, in WhatsApp, you can click on the information link. It claims that the person's name is Alec. You can put in any information there. It really does not matter. So a couple things I can do here, and this is what I do with spam messages, is you want to notify WhatsApp that someone is utilizing their system to spam you. And how do they even get your contact number? Well, it's easy. There is grabber software. So just like they have this IP grabber that can grab your IP address from your mobile devices, there's email grabbers. There are phone number grabbers. So let me tell you how this works. At some point, you disclose your phone number, especially if you're a business or you use your phone for business purposes. So if you have a business page and you put your phone number and you link it to that business page, or a website, your email address, all of these things, they will have software that they can put in the URL for the particular website, and it'll go through all of the back end pages on the website, and it will actually pull all of the email addresses off of the website. And there are tons of applications that does this. So for people who are in the business of, grabbing email addresses because they want to then turn around and use it for marketing purposes, et cetera, you would be surprised. You would be very, very surprised at how easy it is for someone to get your contact details. And so just because someone has your phone number doesn't mean that they know you. And WhatsApp is well aware of that. Sometimes you get text messages. They don't tend to text anymore. And I think because texting actually costs money. So when you're texting from South Africa or anywhere else in the world, it's going to cost them money to send a text message. So this says, this is somebody named Alex. Of course, no photos coming up. I don't have this person saved, but I do have the option of blocking them and also reporting them. So the first thing I do before I block them is I report them. And then WhatsApp, when I report it, says, report this contact to WhatsApp. And they confirm that that's actually what you want to do. So let me just show you the next screen that comes up here. And then once I say, yes, that's what I want to do, then it's also going to immediately block them as well. Okay, so you click on report right there, report contact. And then after you click on report contact, this comes up confirming, report this contact to WhatsApp, block contact, and delete this chat's messages. And that is what I want to do, folks. I don't know who this person is, and I don't want them messaging me again. So now WhatsApp verifies that this person has been blocked. So I'm going to just show you this real quick. Give me 1 second. I want to delete. This thing has kind of I'm going to screen share this, but in the process of screen sharing, it has grabbed some information from my contacts, which I don't necessarily want anybody seeing. So let me just see if I can erase this. So the next page that comes up, it confirms that this person has been blocked. So I can't send them a message, and I will not receive any further messages from them either. So that's precisely what I want. Now let me see here if I can. I'm just going to cross out some information here before I show you this next screenshot. So there was actually 3 things that came up, but by the time I screen grab this, it's only showing me 2. So here we go. 1 second. Just want to show you guys what this looks like. All right. So now I've blocked them. Of course, they use a lot of burner phones. So these are not even necessarily legit numbers. I mean, they're legit numbers, but in terms of being tied to someone in particular, WhatsApp normally can't even trace who they are. So don't even think about tracing. So I've just had to scratch out my contacts there. But this was the confirmation that I got from WhatsApp that popped up. They said, okay, this number is now blocked. And, they won't be able to contact me anymore. It says couldn't clear the chat, but that's fine as I have now blocked them. So I've blocked that one, and then I'm going to delete the chat because I don't even want them on my phone. And it says couldn't delete the chat for some reason. So I guess WhatsApp is not able to do that. And then I will go to the other one, which also came from a +27, but it was a different number. And I'm going to do the exact same thing, block and report the person. So by you reporting it, I think that's an important step because, you can just block them and that's fine. But by reporting it, that means that WhatsApp in their system will seek to block this number entirely because they will identify it as spam. And they will not allow people then to, from that number. So then they have to go buy another number to be able to use it from WhatsApp. Now, here's the thing, all of these companies, WhatsApp is obviously owned by Facebook now. So they have taken some security measures, to try to help us all out in terms of things that we can do. So one of the things that they did during COVID with the spreading of fake news and so on is that they restricted you to how many, depending on the nature of what you were sending, they restricted you to how many people you could actually forward a message to. Now, I don't know if you guys have paid attention to this, but remember when we had, like everybody was using Blackberries, you could forward a message to an unlimited number of people in your Blackberry contact list. So literally you got a message from someone, you'd click on it and forward it to as many people as you wanted. That's one of the things I kind of liked about Blackberry, actually, because I was in the business even then, although I wasn't officially in the news business. I was always sharing information and sharing news and stuff when I received it. So one of the things that I enjoyed is that I could just forward it to as many people as I wanted. Then they came about and they allowed you to create groups. So you could do like these distribution groups, right? And we're going to talk about, I don't know if we'll have time today, but one day I want us to really go through some of the features of WhatsApp, because some of you use WhatsApp for business purposes, which, by the way, there's a WhatsApp business that's available that you can download on your phone. And it has additional features that you can use, which you might find very, very helpful. What I find is that most people are not using it correctly. So most people create a group where everybody can see who's in the group, and they see your phone number, which is a security risk, and they also see your messages. So one day we'll get into some details of how to utilize WhatsApp more effectively and how to be more conscious about security measures that WhatsApp already has built into it. So during COVID, one of the things that WhatsApp did is they restricted the number of people that you could forward a message to, especially if they saw it, which, I mean, that's their artificial intelligence kind of deciding, if it is potentially spam or something kind of news related. They restricted you, I think, to like 5 or 7 people, which was a greater restriction than had been previously put in place in terms of how many people you can forward to sort of lessen the number of people that get these forwarded messages, right? Of course, the workaround around that is to actually already have a group with phone numbers collated to send out, which you can send out to, I think it's 200, and there's a cap as well on how many people can be in your group. So let me just see here. All right, so let me just have a quick look. So someone was just asking about the survey. All right, so let me just see here now. We have, I'm just gonna check the number of people. So it allows you to do 250 persons per broadcast list or group. And then you have to create like secondary groups if you go beyond that, right? And that makes sense to try to cut down on people creating like, groups that are just for the purpose of spamming people and stuff like that. And I've seen some local businesses do this where they will put a group together of people in their contact list, and then they'll start sending out like their daily specials. Like I've seen salons do it and I've seen restaurants do it. If people have, number one, not opted into that group, you really shouldn't do that. That's bad security practices. So what do we mean by opt-in? Opt-in simply means you give people the choice of being in your group or not. So don't just randomly add people to a group without saying, hey, I'm going to be creating a group where we send out our daily menu specials. Do you want to be part of that? That's how you opt in. Because all of a sudden you see when the first message goes out, tons of people start leaving group, leaving group, leaving group. That's because they never opt into it to begin with. And it looks really bad on you as a business owner to do that sort of thing, because then bloop, they're gone and everybody else is thinking, why is everybody leaving this group? Maybe I should leave too. It's kind of like a psychological thing that you don't really want to do. So one of the ways in which you can protect yourself, and in that video it was mentioned where we were talking about the IP grabbing thing, right? Is you want to ensure that you can do or implement what's called two-factor authentication. Now that's a big word, two-factor authentication. It's actually two words. Two-factor is hyphen and then authentication. But what does that even mean? Now the shortened form of that is 2FA. So two-factor authentication is a means by which you can add a separate layer of protection for all of your accounts, things that you log into on a regular basis. So whether it's your Gmail, whether it's your website that you operate and manage, whether it's your Facebook account, whatever, most things that require username and password, which is the first factor. The second factor, right? So it's a two-step verification process. It's also called dual factor authentication. And that is a security process by which users use two different methods to verify that it is them trying to access their information. So for example, I have two-factor authentication turned on for Facebook. So if someone tries to, and people always like, oh, I've been hacked on Facebook, chances are you've actually not been hacked on Facebook at all. What has really happened is someone has simply cloned your account. And I've been cloned a couple of times, and you report these cloned accounts to Facebook. Sometimes they're on it very quickly. Sometimes they seem to not do anything about it at all. So I have had, an issue where during the whole thing with Minister Dwayne Seymour, one of his cronies went and created this fake account. So it wasn't technically a clone, but they actually used photos of my daughter as their profile photo. And we're going to talk about, one of these segments for sure, how you can try to protect yourself security wise on Facebook. But once you're out there in public, it becomes more and more difficult to protect yourself as much as you really should, and as much as you would like to. Some of your photos, your profile photos and so on, will always be up for grabs from the public. And that is really, really concerning. So what they did was they just went to my Facebook, grabbed a photo of my daughter, and then created this fake Facebook account. And, because, and you know when it is someone local that's doing it and just trying to be mean and malicious, as opposed to what normally happens where someone is cloning it, trying to defraud your friends and trying to get some money. Because what this person then did is they picked pictures of like family and my in-laws to then put up, this fake account, and then were messaging or commenting on CMR with a different name. So they didn't use my name. And by them not using my name, when I report it to Facebook, it's not technically a clone. It's just that they're using my pictures. So you see how they try to be smart. But, you should not accept friends. You should not accept invites from people like that. But again, I knew that was a local person, and I knew it was someone related to him or his wife. As soon as that story went up calling her jackass, all of a sudden they created this account and they were trying to do like the most. But, you can't allow these crazy people to get in your head. So create all the fake pages you want. I'm just like, okay, that impacts me how? So you take on a certain amount of risk when you're on social media, but what you can do to make sure that people are not accessing your account without your knowledge is you can put in place two-factor authentication. And it works for sites like Facebook, your Gmail, and other things. So it works. There's a couple of different ways to verify it. So for example, anytime someone logs in to my Facebook account from a new computer, a new device, I get a pop-up on my phone saying you or someone has just logged in to your Facebook account. So I can do my verification from my phone, but what if I lost my phone? Or the person stole my phone as well, right? That would be a problem, but I can get access to my email, other places than just on my phone. So it's unlikely that someone is going to steal your computer and your phone and all your devices, and then you're gonna kind of be out of luck if that happens, because you need a way to do the two-factor authentication, right? But two-factor authentication is normally done by application sometimes. So you have an app that gives you codes, right? So when people try to log in to, I'm just trying to remember, I have a bunch of them. I can't tell you, obviously, all of the things that I access, like my accounts, whatever, but like if you use Google Drive or all these other things, you download the Authenticator app, you scan a barcode at some point to link that account to your Authenticator app. And then it'll come up. So every time somebody logs in to my Facebook account, it will say, right, you're trying to get into Facebook. These are the numbers. So it has like a 6-digit number. And those numbers are constantly being refreshed. So they don't remain the same. So the numbers just, as a matter of fact, just as I was looking at the screen, they just changed. So they expired and it issues new numbers, and they do it it's going to change again. So it's probably every couple seconds. Hold on. So here we go. So it looks like it's maybe 30 seconds. So every 30 seconds, the authenticator number, see, there it goes, boom, changed again, and the countdown starts, right? So if someone tries to log in to any of these accounts, that number changes within 30 seconds. So these are some of the important things that you should have in place. So two-factor authentication is very, very important. Websites get hacked all the time. They lose personal data. People hack into Gmail accounts or the Gmail servers, and all of a sudden you hear in the news, millions of people now have their passwords, email addresses compromised because hackers have accessed, their systems. So one of the best ways as a consumer for you to protect yourself is to have and understand how two-factor authentication works. So listen to this bit of information, right? The after effects of a targeted hack or identity theft can be devastating. Stolen credentials can be used to secure fake credit cards, and we've seen this in the States, and then they email it to, or they have the credit card mailed to a new address. Funding shopping sprees, damage a person's credit rating, entire bank and cryptocurrency accounts can be drained overnight. A recent study revealed that in 2016, over 16 billion with a B dollars were taken from 15.4 million US consumers. Wow. And even more incredibly, identity thieves stole over $107 billion in the past 6 years alone. And these are probably somewhat conservative numbers because not everybody who loses money runs to the police. Sometimes people just chalk it up and they're like, well, I just lost $5,000. What am I going to do? So online websites and apps obviously have their part to play. But they do try to spend a lot of money on security. However, these guys think that they're really smart and they're always trying to find a way to work around it. So the traditional passwords that we use, which have been in use from day one, listen, most people use, can you believe that people still use stuff like 1, 2, 3, 4? Or 1, 2, 3, whatever, or 4, 3, 2, 1 as like PIN numbers and passcodes. It's like, those are some of the worst. But using your year of birth is also very, very easy for people to figure out. Using your children's names. People sit down, oh, they've got a dog. Maybe they use their dogs. There's so many ways to crack a password. And you would be surprised now that they have software that allows this to happen, how incredibly easy it is to infiltrate your devices. Yep. So, give me 1 second here. I'm going to just show you guys a little bit of information in terms of this. So there's applications out there that will allow people to hack into your passwords or into your accounts using just your password. So back in 1961, how far back can we go? The Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, developed what's called the Compatible Time Sharing System, CTSS, a little technical here. But basically, this was to make sure that everyone had an equal chance to use a computer. So MIT required all students to log in with a secure password. However, students figured out that they could hack the system, print out the passwords, and hog more computer time. Way back in 1961, folks. And MIT is, their name. They probably had a lot of smart kids going to their school. But security, usernames, and passwords remain the most common form of user authentication. So that's the first step. When you log into something, okay, what is your username and what is your password? Most people use, depending on the website, their email addresses as their username. And of course, that's very easy to find out what someone's email address is. So the general rule of thumb when it comes to using passwords is that it should be something that only you know while being difficult for everyone else to guess. However, we know how this works. We all had bad memories. We're all creatures of habits. Like, how many of you have a password, right, that you use the same password for every single thing? I'm willing to bet it's quite a few of you using the exact same password over and over again. Wow, that's a bad idea. Because when someone figures out what your password is, oh, well, I've got the password to their email. I've got the password to their bank account, perhaps. I've got a password to all sorts of different things. And then you are in trouble because they can access emails, social media accounts, like everything. But again, we are creatures of habit, folks. So this is what we do. The other thing is, because we have such bad memories, a recent report looked at 1.4 billion stolen passwords and found that most of them were embarrassingly simple to figure out. Here are some of them. 111111. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. QWERTY. So you know on the keyboard, that's the top left-hand corner when you know how to type QWERTY. Do you know how many people use the word password for their password? So they might be easy to remember, but they're also easy for a hacker to figure out in no time at all. So a lot of people have too many accounts. Like, think about it. You got an account for every website, every email address, every social media account. So, you know, we're like, I can't remember 25 different passwords that are secure enough to really make sense and logging into all those different things. So this is where two-factor authentication comes in. So it adds an extra layer of security to make sure that anyone who's trying to gain access to your online account has to verify that it's actually them. Okay? So sometimes the verification is a PIN number. So like an additional PIN number, an additional password, or a security question and answer. So, you know, the phone companies do this. When you set up your account, you create a security question and answer. So if you ever have to call them about your account to verify that it's actually you, they're going to say, hold on a second. What's your PIN number? Or what's your security question and answer? Digicel, funny enough, used to force you to remember both the question and the answer. Because if they ask you the question, if they say, oh, what's your dog? Well, even if it's not you, you'd know my dog is Coco. So that would be too easy. So they require you to both remember the question and the answer. Because the question could be anything, right? You can also use, you know, things like I said, your smartphone now has a token, is what these apps give you, these 2FA apps. And that token, like I said, is constantly being renewed, and it is a random number issued by that application. There's also biometric features, fingerprints, scanning your eye, doing a voice print, and that sort of thing. So two-factor or 2FA authentication can actually work through different ways exactly. But most people now, it's going to ask you for some level of additional verification by way of either keystroke, a PIN number, an additional password, or something like that. And that's good. It's good to turn that on for all of your devices. I'm always shocked at people who say to me, oh my gosh, I've been hacked. And I'm like, you have? Well, did you have two-factor on? No. So it's only a matter of time before most of us are hacked with different websites and so on, especially if you do not use two-factor. Okay? Sometimes it'll come through to your phone as SMS, although the off-reg people at ICT, have said that SMS-based two-factor isn't the best because, you know, people can intercept text messages, or if someone has access to your phone, they can also, you know, get the text messages and stuff coming in. So be careful about the type of two-factor that you utilize and think about the potential risk of that as well. So, but there's some countries who don't have access to smartphone. And so text messaging is something that is still available on all phones. And oftentimes that's just the easiest way, but it also has some level of security concerns with it as well. Okay. So the software tokens, which you can get from applications as possible. They also have what they call push notification for 2FA, for two-factor. So that's where you get like just a notification, like Facebook does this, comes up on my cell phone that someone is trying to log in on a device. The other thing is it can tell me exactly where the person's logging in. So if you think that you have been hacked, there is a section of your Facebook account that you can actually go into and see a history of where your Facebook account has been logged in and accessed, what devices, what location, Georgetown from this IP address. And most websites or most applications kind of have that somewhere on the security backend. You would just need to figure out where it's at. So I use Dropbox, and some months ago, I had a security issue with Dropbox where someone had accessed my Dropbox and they deleted a bunch of my Dropbox files. And I noticed it not right away, but I was looking for something in particular and I couldn't find it. I'm like, I know that folder's here somewhere, that file is here. Why can't I find it? And lo and behold, when I went back to have a look and I contacted Dropbox, they're like, yeah, there was a mass deletion of a ton of your Dropbox stuff. And then I went in because they showed me where to go on their website to see what computers had accessed my Dropbox account. And I noticed a computer on there with a name that is not part of my network. So, my husband, who's an IT manager, he's an IT professional, he does a lot of my stuff. So when he sets up a computer, he'll name it like a particular thing. And I know that, okay, I have access to 3 computers. So at my office, I have one, at home, I have one, and then I've got a laptop. And those 3 computers the computer itself has a specific name. So it'll show you the computer name that is actually logging in to these different accounts. And there's a name on there that neither one of us recognize. And I'm thinking, I don't know who this is. Thankfully, any good company like Dropbox, depending on the account that you have with them, does give you the ability to recover your files because they then keep them backed up because this is a cloud-based service. So although it's been deleted from my account, they keep a backup of it for, it depends on the account that you have, 30, 60 days or 90 days or whatever. So thankfully they were able to recover and restore all of my things that had been deleted. It was stuff like pictures and photos and stuff like that. But of course, even in your photos and stuff, it's important information that you are looking for. So good morning, Sophia. Irvin makes a point here that some people even store their passwords on their phones. Bad idea. Yes. Not a good idea at all. So let's talk about next week a little bit more on Tech Thursday about password security and some of the tools that you can use to assist you in remembering or not even having to remember the passwords that you create. And now there are phones and applications and devices that will create an extremely strong and random password for you that is very, very secure. You'll never remember it because it's a bunch of characters and letters and whatever. But the system that you can use will help you to pull down that information when you need it for login purposes. So let's talk about that on next week's agenda for next week's Tech Thursday segment. So I hope that you found it useful. Someone said they were trying to complete the survey, but they were having a little bit of issues. So I do have some questions. Okay. So there you have it, good folks. Another segment of Tech Thursday. We're pretty much out of time. So we will wrap up today. I'm just doing a quick perusal to see if there's anything else that's coming through by way of breaking news. So that's why I was checking my WhatsApp messages. Nothing coming out right now. So I thank you guys for tuning in. I do know that, Tech Thursday, not everybody's into, but I hope that you learned something a little bit here and there. And if you have any suggestions, any ideas for topics that you would like for us to cover on the Tech Thursday segment, we will definitely do that. We are looking for some show sponsors as well for Tech Thursday. So we will see about bringing, that information across. And stay tuned. And knowledge is power, folks. So we will talk about security features, how to use some of the features of the applications that we most commonly use, such as Facebook, WhatsApp, and so on. As you guys realize, Facebook has undergone a humongous change in how it looks. So Facebook web in particular looks very, very different. They have streamlined it a lot. Some parts of it I like, and other things I'm just trying to get used to. So it's not always easy to get used to something when they've switched it up on us. It's like, okay, you're used to looking at things and doing things a certain way, but we will go through some of those things together and we will learn together and we'll figure it all out. So thank you guys again for tuning in. Have a wonderful day. We're back this evening because today's Thursday. So we do have a Thursday show. We'll be back this evening at 7 p.m. So again, be safe, work hard, and I'll see you guys at 7.
Thank you for tuning in to another edition of The Cold Hard Truth. Make sure to check Facebook for showtimes and more information and the latest news at CaymanMarlRoad.com. Subscribe to our IG and Facebook pages to get the latest happenings.